Okay, well, let's do some introductions of board members, the members of the Facilities Committee. And by the way, John Curler did say that he would be joining us a little bit late. He's in transit from another obligation. And so we'll introduce the Facilities Committee members and then the Community Engagement Committee members and any other board members who are present this evening. And I'll start us off by saying I'm Dana Peterson. I'm the Superintendent Director here at the Patricia A. Hannaford Regional Technical School District. And Jay, we might want to start a recordings just so that we can have this and post it for anybody else who might want to watch. I know that MCTV is here, but I think we did this last time. We should do it again if that's okay. Missy, did you want to go next?
Recording in progress.
This meeting is being recorded.
I can. I was just going to ask if we were recording. So introduction, I'm on the Facilities Committee and I'm Missy Beckwith and part of the Workforce Investment Board member.
Thanks.
And
Lorraine?
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm the other Facilities Committee member. I'm Lorraine Morris. I live in Middlebury. And since you also said we were going to do community engagement, and I think we're the only two facility members, I might as well just say I'm also on the Community Engagement Committee.
Thanks, Lorraine. Let's go to Christina then.
Hi, good evening. I'm Christina Macklin. I'm on the Community Engagement Committee, and I'm also the Addison Northwest School District rep. I think Dana's frozen. Suzanne, you want to go?
Oh, okay. If Dana's frozen, I'm Suzanne Buck. I'm an ACSD rep and I sit on the Community Engagement Committee. And let's go to Judd.
Judd Markowski, resident of Bridport and Workforce Investment Board member.
And we'll go to Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Farnham. I live in New Haven and I'm the Mount Abraham Community at Large member.
And Jay?
Jay Stetzel, Assistant Director at the Career Center.
Let's go with guests. So we have Mike Davey.
Mike Davey, I'm a project manager with Energy Efficient Investments.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Barrett, I'm the clerk for the board.
Lisa Rader. I think it's Lisa tonight.
Lisa Rader, Career Center teacher, art and design.
Thank you. And then there's MCTV. So Jay, since Dana still seems to be frozen, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick us off.
I think I'm okay, but that's okay. Jay's next anyway.
Okay.
He was going to address the the frequently asked questions, and we'll take it from there. So he's up next anyway. Thanks, Suzanne.
Yep.
All right, so I just posted in the chat the document that we mailed out to all of our all residents of Addison County. Just includes some information about the capital project. So if folks want to take a quick look at that, just as a refresher for what we're talking about tonight. So the next thing we were going to do was watch the 15-minute video. And I know I told a few people that I wasn't going to ask if we should go ahead and do this, but I'm going to because everyone that's here either board or works at the Career Center. So I don't know if we want to spend time, 15 minutes watching that video, or if we just want to jump into questions. I mean, I'm happy to show it. I've got it queued up, and so we certainly could watch it.
Jay, I'm just wondering, because MCTV is here videoing, if it might not be a good idea to show it, even though I think probably all of us have seen it.
Okay.
I would agree.
All right. Well, we'll move into that here.
Hello, my name is Dana Peterson, and I'm the superintendent here at the Patricia A. Hannaford Regional Technical School District. And I'm now in my 5th year. The integration of facilities into the learning experience of students is really critical. And in order for us to provide quality learning opportunities, we need to begin with providing a safe and healthy learning environment. And that is what this whole project is about. We first began to undertake this project and its planning in my first year here at the Career Center in the spring of 2018, when the Facilities Committee began to look at a number of failing systems. And one of our members, an engineer, made a recommendation that we look at all of our systems holistically rather than trying to address things piecemeal. As a result, we put out an RFQ and EEI responded. In fact, the state of Vermont has decided to conduct a comprehensive needs assessment for all facilities statewide. We believe that we are a little bit ahead of the game because of our partnership with EEI and the groundwork that they have done to help us identify the comprehensive needs that we have to address in order to be able to maintain a very healthy and safe learning environment for our students to be successful.
Hello, my name is John Curler. I'm the head of maintenance here at the Hannaford Career Center. I'm in my 28th year here, and so I've been around the building a long time. Through my years here, we've tried to manage projects that help to increase the energy efficiency in the building. That's one of our goals here, to be efficient. And so we entered into a conversation with EEI for looking to do this project and correct some of these things.
2 years ago, the Facilities Committee for Hannaford Career Center issued an RFP for performance contracts. The goal was to both reduce energy costs in the building and upgrade some of the aging infrastructure. Through that process, which has been a 2-year study of the building during the pandemic, we learned a lot about the building and the end users. One of the things that we found is that much of the equipment and infrastructure is well past end of life. For HVAC equipment, 30 years is the anticipated useful life. 30 years marks the absolute newest equipment, which is the boilers in the boiler room in the district. Everything else is over 30 years.
In 1991, 3 boilers, oil-fed boilers, were installed, and that's been our current heating system, which the boilers are now over 25 years old, and so they're at end of life. And so we'd like to upgrade those.
Our recommendation would be to go to gas, high-efficiency condensing boilers. Your current boilers have a maximum efficiency of about 82%. The new boilers will be 99% efficient and redundant.
Some of the maintenance challenges we face are when we have to service the air handlers and change the air filters. We have to put an extension ladder up to get up onto the roof, tie it off, and then we're able to access a catwalk to the air handlers to change the filters. A safer access would be much better, I think, all around, something that we access up through the building rather than having to put something up on the exterior and climb a ladder to get up there. Other areas that are a little challenging is in between the roofs, there is a air handler that we have to walk along corridor to be able to get in there to service those air filters as well. surface we're walking on is what was the original roof before the standing seam roof was put on.
The biggest thing that we came to over and over again is the quality of the ventilation and the difficulty of servicing and getting to this equipment. It was all put in originally to be electric heat. It was then converted to gas over the years. It's more than 40 years old and is really tired and in need of replacement. To replace it, we actually have to remove sections of the metal roof and replace them and put in new high efficiency ventilation equipment, which will have energy recovery. So currently the air comes through, it's heated up by the boiler and exhausted out. The new equipment will have energy recovery features that will be 35% more efficient than your current ventilation means.
In some of the heavy labs, the industrial fabrication lab, the construction trades lab, and in the forestry and natural resources and the ART lab, each of those have unit heaters that provide heat. However, they don't provide fresh air into the space. The original units were electric, and when those got discontinued or shut down, then that fresh air element left. In this project, we'd like to address that and put in efficient units that would also heat as well as provide fresh air into the space. And I would guess that they would be much quieter than the unit heaters that are currently being used, which make it a real challenge to teach.
And those units don't meet the current ventilation standards that are recommended by the state of Vermont.
The air handlers are now 50 years old, which is probably double their life expectancy. So they've been well maintained, but they're inefficient. They currently use a pneumatic system for opening and closing valves. And so what happens is an air compressor has to run, pressures the line, and then the valves, depending on what the thermostat's calling for, will open and close. And so it bleeds off a little air. And so each time that happens, there's a pressure drop. And then the air compressor, after a period of time, will have to run again. And so it's an inefficient system. Also, over the years, there have been occasional leaks that are difficult to find. A slow leak on an airline up in a above a ceiling or something is really challenging to find. And so what we'd like to do is to go to a full DDC system that would be electronic, which would be more reliable and much more efficient, negating the use of having an air compressor to run. The other advantage to that is that I could access the heating system remotely, either through my phone or through my computer, and then I can make changes without even have to running down to the building. And it would be really nice not to have to search for leaks in the old pneumatic system. So I'd really like to get that replaced. In 2011, we did a lighting upgrade, which we had T12 fluorescence, and we changed it to T8 fluorescence, which did provide us with some energy savings. However, the changes and improvements in the LED lighting now much more surpass that and would again save us a lot more energy and taxpayer dollars.
The lighting throughout the campus is all fluorescent. A fluorescent fixture typically uses about 90 watts of electricity. It can be replaced with an LED fixture with a better light output that is about 28 watts of electricity. So there's substantial savings in every fixture that's upgraded to LED. Once these changes are made, a substantial portion of the building's electrical usage can be powered through solar power on the metal sloped roof. It's actually a very exciting opportunity to reduce the energy usage here at the campus by more than 30%, and then power a remaining percentage of it with solar PV.
The electrical system, the breakers and the switch gear are all Federal Pacific, which are a brand that is now obsolete. And there's also concerns that they won't function as they should. They might not trip because they are so old. In the main electrical room, there's an egress issue. There's less than the required 36 inches between the front of the main switchgear in the wall. It's a little bit of a hazard to be able to walk by there. You might inadvertently trip one of the breakers. And so we'd like to update that code issue with this project.
Because of the extent of the work, meeting with the facilities committee, we strongly considered not limiting the scope just to mechanical items, but also looking at replacing the asbestos that is fairly abundant in the flooring and ceiling systems.
The restrooms in our facilities don't meet ADA requirements, the means of egress out of them, a turning radius within the space. In this plan, that will be addressed. There are other doors that don't meet code that would be addressed as well. We want to make sure that we're compliant with those guidelines. Sound travels over walls and above the ceiling into the adjacent classroom. So we'd like to address that by putting a wall that goes all the way up. The ceiling tiles are well used, I'll say, and need to be replaced. That goes along with some of the asbestos work that would be done. If they're going to take ceilings down to take asbestos out, then it's just easier and cleaner to be able to replace it with new tile. In the culinary program, the grease traps, which are in the floor in there, are no longer functioning as they should. And we'd like to fix that issue. On the exterior part of the building, the wooden trim around the edge of the roof line is now deteriorated. That's been a hard thing to be able to try and maintain because of the height of the building. We'd like to replace that, and we'd like to put one sign up with just one name on it to alleviate confusion. The rendition that EEI has done with the sign that they want to put on and the new replacement of the wood just make the outside the building look more welcoming and make it look really nice.
With the amount of ductwork, ventilation, and controls upgrade, it really is an opportune time to look at replacing these ceiling tiles, removing asbestos from campus, and really modernizing the facility. Another major finding during this process was looking at North Campus. The building was built approximately 20 years ago, and during the original construction, there was intended to be a classroom on the second level. Through some budget savings, that classroom was mostly constructed, however, abandoned, and the second stairwell to access it was eliminated from the project. As part of this project, we would like to revitalize that space and build the second stairwell, and that will serve as a necessary agricultural classroom for the district.
As it stands right now, we go out to North Campus between 2 and 3 class periods a week. And during that time, because we're stationed at main campus where our classroom is, we actually take 20 minutes at least out of our 2-hour class time, or if it happens to be a plant and animal science class, that's 20 minutes out of an 83 period time frame where we're actually traveling through town to get back and forth from our farm where we're practicing with the animals in the land to the main campus where we're back in our classroom. So it's essential for us to be able to look at our North Campus building and take a peek at renovating the upper level of the classroom area so that we can not only have our classroom there, but also the food lab that we have as part of our classroom here at main campus. That would certainly enrich our students' experiences, and it would eliminate the travel time that is taking out of the opportunities for our students to be able to learn effectively and spend as much time as they can practicing what we're teaching in the classroom.
It should be important to note the process that was gone through. Our team included mechanical, electrical, engineering firms, as well as Banwell architects. We not only looked at the facility, but we met with key stakeholders, including department heads, board members, the superintendent and facility staff, to make sure that all of the major needs were looked at and thought about prior to considering any bond vote to the public. So the project proposal is a comprehensive one, which will create more education space for students in the district, modernize the ventilation, heating, and controls components, substantially reduce your energy use, and modernize the facility, which hasn't had a substantial interior renovation in more than 30 years.
When we started putting together the list of needs, it became very clear that We could put Band-Aids on items, critical infrastructure needs, or we could put a package together and really take care of it the right way. And that is what we're asking for your support to do, is to upgrade the building and get the systems operational so the Career Center can continue existing and being productive in serving our students.
So since I've been here a long time, I've really worked to keep this building maintained and make it welcoming. I really want students to be able to come into this building and get their hands dirty and to create and make things that they're proud of, and then go out into the community and be of service to the whole community and for the good of everyone. I think kids really need to be involved in these trades, and because that's what our nation is lacking right now. So I hope that you will support this project and make this just a really nice place for our community.
All right, I'll pass it along
Okay.
to sorry about that. So we'll pass it along to I think Mike, and I don't see John yet, but hopefully he'll join us here shortly and we can answer any questions.
So the video, which hopefully you guys had a chance to see there, explained a lot of the needs of the building. Basically, we worked with the facility committee for what ended up being about a 2-year period, with the pandemic kind of slowing things down a little bit. And what the project that was developed is really intended to be a 50-year solution for the building. So in general, over the past 50 years, you've basically gotten that type of lifespan out of your equipment by maintaining it well. But the heating system, the ventilation system, the HVAC controls, the electrical system are all end of life. It was mentioned in the video, you can't even get components anymore for the entire electrical system in the building. And the Federal Pacific panels are known to be faulty. They've lasted for 50 years, and they really are in need of being upgraded. And also in the 1990s, the federal government recommended, actually required, but with an unfunded mandate, that all asbestos be out of the schools. This project is going to modernize the heating, ventilation, remove asbestos from the school, install LED lights, which will be powered with solar, and then also have a car charging station. So it's a forward-thinking project that will take the building from the 1960s to the 2020s. So it's not a frills project. It's needed equipment to replace end-of-life infrastructure and providing needed educational space for the agricultural classroom. So that's how we wound up on this project of this size, and it's certainly severely needed.
So we'll entertain any questions that somebody might have from the audience or from MCTV.
Dana, nobody's asking a question, so I thought I might just comment that I did receive a question via email about who would be sharing the cost of this. I believe it came from a Middlebury person who saw my front page forum post, and I assured her that that cost is spread out among all of the 3 sending districts. So that might be something that the public would want.
Actually, in fact, it will be spread out among all of the 17 towns in Addison County, as well as some of our towns that neighbor Addison County with students who benefit from the Career Center. So this cost will be borne by a large community in terms of supporting this work. And depending on town of residence, there might be some fluctuation. But as the video presented, the largest impact would be $19, and everything else would be less than, actually it's less than $19. But some people might experience significantly less cost per 100,000. So it is going to be spread out over all of Addison County and then some. Thanks for asking that question, Lori.
So Dana, I'm going to throw out another question that came from the press, and it may be one that we cannot answer at this point in time, but just in case people are watching what's going on in Montpelier. The question was that the governor in his address had said he supported CTE and maintaining buildings and such. And there was supposedly a dollar value given that he would like to see go to CTEs. And the question from the press had been, with that money, when will we know if we're receiving any of that money? And would some of that money be able to be used to pay down this bond?
So that's a great question, Suzanne, and I think I know the origin of that. I think that will also appear in an article, but my response would be that that's through the Appropriations Committee, and that has not yet been established. So there is a large chunk of money that the governor would like to see to go to CTE, but there will probably be parameters around how that money is spent. And some of it may be to foster workforce development. Some may be to foster internships and apprenticeships, and some may be used for equipment and other upgrades. We just don't know at this point in time how much of that would be available to us as eligible funding for supporting capital projects. It's just a question mark. I know that many of us in CTE have been advocating for some allocation of funds. And I know that the Agency of Education is currently working on a needs assessment for all facilities statewide, and that they are going to come up with a plan. But the timeline for that, they're just gathering information at this point. And so that's going to be sometime in the future that the AOE will have a report to the legislature about what those needs are and then how that is going to be funded. So the real answer is we don't know at this point in time how much additional money will be eligible. There might be some through various energy efficiencies, but I think that those have already been addressed. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, with Efficiency Vermont, because as we went through this process, I think that Mike and his team included any of the efficiencies that we could glean from Efficiency Vermont and the upgrades that we were making. But Mike, do you want to comment on that?
Yep. So Efficiency Vermont has been engaged in the process, and we anticipate that they will provide a significant rebate at the end of the project of about $50,000, depending on exactly what program year. They change their funding every year, so depending on exactly when it finishes this 2-year project. But we anticipate at least $50,000 in funding from Efficiency Vermont.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. I knew that we had something built in, but I didn't know what that figure was. Question? Oh, Missy?
Yeah, I would just like to add to that, because I think one of the things that the Facilities Committee was contemplating is, do we go for the bond vote, or do we wait for information about funds available to do this work? And the reality is we need to do the work now. And almost every Facilities Committee, we're faced with some emergency cost because something's failing. And we can't wait. And I'd just like to put that out there, because eventually it's going to impact the overall budget and the functioning of the school. And the fire alarm system is just one really good example of that. And so I just wanted to share that. We're doing this because we need to do it now, and hopefully there's funding available proactively or after the fact, but we can't wait.
And I think that that's a good point, Missy. Uh, we wouldn't be bringing it to the voters if this weren't an absolute need that is going to provide both health and safety assurances, as well as expanded opportunities for learning. And we're hopeful that whatever the legislature does, that will support our CTE center, because we are the only independent CTE center that has not had an upgrade in the last 20 years. Both of our counterparts have had much more recent upgrades. And so hopefully that will be put into some type of an appropriations bill as that money is made available for CTE across the state. We have our building that was constructed at North Campus in between 2004 and 2006. But that was all funded through local assessments. So they are contemplating corrections through a budget amendment and an appropriation for the impact that COVID has had on enrollments for the 3 independent CTE centers. And I am hopeful that in the future, this will be addressed as another special need that will support our ongoing work with our students and workforce development throughout Addison County and beyond. So we'll wait to see. I'll continue to advocate for that. Christina.
Sorry, my cursor was in the wrong place. I just want to build on what you guys are just talking about in terms of the energy savings that this project is going to bring to the Career Center. And, you know, the sooner that we can reap those benefits, it's going to be, you know, better for our budgets and just the entire operation. So just the energy savings that Mike pointed out is going to be significant. So that's just another reason not to wait, you know, 2 or 3 more years to do a project like this.
And those savings will be reflected in the annual budgets. So there's a payback that will be immediately realizable. Thanks for mentioning that, Christina. Any other questions, thoughts, observations that you would like to ask either the facilities committee, the community engagement committee, our consultants, or the admin team? Please take an opportunity. No question is too small to be addressed, and it will help in getting the word out to the viewers around Addison County and beyond, and our supporters at the Career Center. Well, let me just say this. If you can think of other questions, feel free to email them to one of our committee members or to me or Jay, and we will strive to address those between now and the next meeting that we have scheduled for February 23rd. Once again, following our informational meeting. Actually, is it following? Yeah, it's following the informational meeting at 7 o'clock on February 23rd. That's next Wednesday. So we will continue this dialogue, and we just ask that everybody who is in attendance this evening, once again, try to reach out to friends, coworkers, and colleagues around Addison County and let them know about the final meeting on the 23rd, and that we will entertain all questions at that time. And we will also be available to answer questions about the FY23 budget. And we'll also address any other questions that would pop up regarding the operations here at the Career Center. But we thank you for your time. We thank you for your interest. And we ask for your support and encouragement for a vote on the both the capital project financing as well as our annual budget in March. If there's nothing else, I'd just like to close and say thank you all for attending and for your thoughtful questions. Have a great evening.